Hi there, Matt Hemming, and today we're going to look at some awkward carries. Now, if you want to get strong, one of the things you want to emphasize is the big six. So this is going to be a squat motion, a hinge motion, okay, pushing horizontally, pushing vertically, pulling horizontally, and pulling vertically. So if you pick an appropriate exercise variation for each of those, you're going to be set and ready to go for getting stronger. However, one thing that you might be missing out on is carries. And when we think of loaded carries, we often think of things like farmer's walk, which is a great exercise, okay? However, we can still be missing out on the awkward carries. And the idea with this is we're carrying something that doesn't have a nice handle, it's hard to hold, it's awkward, and what this will do is this will force you to use, to get tight throughout your whole body, and it'll build some really good total body strength and stability. A great way to think about this is farm strength. You think of the strength that you build doing hard manual labor on a farm, this type of carries will get you there. Now let's look at a couple options. So one option is a keg, okay? And so if you ask around, you can probably find a keg for free or for very cheap. And this is something that you can fill up with water, and this makes a great option. So one option we can do with this is to simply just hold it in this position, and then we can carry that, okay? And one of the nice things with the water is that the water will slosh around, which makes it awkward, and again, it makes it hard to stabilize, okay? We can also potentially move to more of a vertical carry here, or we get on here and hold with, again, a more awkward position here, okay? Now, with progressing this, water is great, again, for the sloshing around, but it's not that heavy, so you'll probably outgrow this and need to go to something heavier, okay? A great option with that is to start filling this with sand, okay? And sand is much denser, and it'll make it much more challenging. Now, if you don't have a keg, okay, another option you might have is a sandbag. So some gyms will have sandbags. You can purchase one, you can get an old duffel bag, and you can make your own with some sand, and this can be a great option. Now, if you're using the traditional exercise sandbags, they're going to come with nice handles, so don't use those for these, okay? So what we can do instead is get them in position. We could do a Zercher carry like this, okay? We're carrying this way. We can carry up on the shoulder, okay? Or we could even just do a bear hug and carry that way. And again, this will force you to really work hard because you don't have that nice gripping handle to hold. It's nice and awkward. Now, if you don't have access to any of these and you're just at your typical standard gym, you can even use dumbbells for this. And the trick with this is not to hold them as much with the handle, okay? So one option we can simply do is just to hold a dumbbell vertically, right? So we're in this position, we're holding it here where it's not as comfortable as the handle, and that can work, okay? We could go to the traditional goblet carry where we're up and through here, okay? Another one we could do is go to the shoulder, right? We can get this up on the shoulder, and then with two hands, one hand on the handle now, but the other hand just holding the plates, we could walk that way, okay? And all of these, we can even kind of go into a bear hug position, okay? We're just grabbing the dumbbell here in kind of an awkward holding position and just going from there, okay? Now with any of these, be especially careful that you don't drop the dumbbell on your toe. All right, wrap this up with a couple tips for you. If you have access to a space that's just like a nice long straight space, use that, it's gonna be awesome, okay? If you don't, another great option is to do these carries in a figure-8 pattern, okay? So if you're carrying something, and the idea with the figure-8 is it'll keep you turning symmetrical. So you'll spend equal time turning both ways pretty much as you go through your sets, okay? Another thing to do with this is to make sure that you make room in your program for this. Anytime you learn something new, if you want to add that to your program, it means that something else has to come out, so be careful with that and make good decisions. Don't just keep adding stuff because your program is going to get too long, it'll be impractical, and you'll probably exceed your recovery abilities, okay? And the final thing is you can adjust this for your goals. So if you want more strength focus, you can do shorter distances, shorter times with much heavier weight, or you can do the opposite for more of a conditioning focus where you go longer with less weight. Okay? You can also work on a volume progression to build work capacity, but overall make sure you're able to add some load to this so you keep getting stronger. And enjoy building farm boy or farm girl strength with awkward carries.